Right, have we got our speakers? We've got Chris, we've got Dorothy. Okay, so I think we can make a start. All right, so just to say to everybody, the Minister when he arrives, Caherlock, TDs, councillors, Chief Executive of Sligo County Council, the Chair of the Heritage Council and the Chief Executive, thank you so much for coming today and taking time out of your busy schedules. We're just so excited about this report. It's taken over a year to do it, so it's a real achievement today. I just want to say 3 key messages about the report that we've actually produced. So the report focuses on collaboration and also the creation of spatial data for the first time. And also the third thing is strengthening of evidence-based decision making. So as you'll see from the programme, it was circulated yesterday. Before we do the launch, I just want to introduce you to the speakers. So yeah, we have Dara Mulvey, who's the Caherlock of Sligo County Council. We have Michael Parsons, who is the Chairman of the Heritage Council. Dorothy Clarke, Director of Services, Planning, Community and Economic Development, Arts and Culture with Sligo County Council. And we also have Dr. Chris O'Malley, who is the Vice President of IT Sligo. So really just without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Dara Mulvey, Caherlock of Sligo County Council. Thank you very much, Dara. Are you there?
Thank you, Ali. Good afternoon to everybody. Representatives of the Heritage Council and Sligo BID, Director of Services Dorothy Clarke, special guests and friends, and the Minister will be joining us shortly, we hope. Sligo County Council is delighted to be associated with this excellent programme, Ireland's Collaborative Town Centre Health Check. The success of this programme is founded on the dynamic partnership between many stakeholders and has used models of best international practice to inform and guide its rollout. It is particularly timely and relevant in a local context when you consider the ambitious plans being progressed for Sligo Town Centre. Projects such as the Cultural Plaza and the public realm will transform our landscape and enhance the visitor experience and bring a vibrancy and energy that will be a catalyst for our future progress. We consider and learn from national experience. The top 3 highest vacancy rates in the programme pre-pandemic were Tipperary Town, Tralee and Dundalk. By way of international comparison, Tipperary's rate of 26% compares with 5% in Denmark and just under 7% in Holland. But the Dundalk experience shows what can be achieved when committed agencies work towards a shared objective, with the core regeneration engine being the local BID, Business Improvement District. An important element of their programme was their collaboration with Scotland Town Centres as part of a workshop in early 2020. Other key strands to this initiative include private sector investment and the serious issues facing the retail footprint in all our urban centres. The backdrop to this discussion is the impact COVID-19 is having on every sector of our community and the short and long-term impacts it will have on the way we live and the way we work. We are, as we all know, in uncharted waters, and this makes this discussion even more crucial. Now more than ever, we need constructive engagement and positive partnership. By planning and delivering a data-driven programme, we can create social capital and harness the energy, the spirit and the goodwill in all our communities to create a better quality of life for us all. The regeneration of historic town centres will provide a focus for our citizens and will, as the programme outlines, nurture a sense of place, civic pride and belonging. A special word of thanks to Minister Noonan for launching this programme. And finally, I want to commend Alison Harvey of the Heritage Council, Gail McGibbon from Sligo BID and their teams for coordinating and hosting this great event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dara, for that. All right, folks, I'd like to introduce Michael Parsons, who's the chairman of the Heritage Council. Michael, over to you.
Thanks very much, Alison. Well, good afternoon, Minister Noonan, and he is out of the conference. Gail Mulvey and fellow guests. I first of all want to thank the Sligo Town Centre Health Check project team for the invitation to be here today for the launch by the Minister of the report on Sligo Town, or Sligo Town Centre. Sligo Town and County have a compelling history and the marvellous riches of natural, built and cultural heritage. People of Sligo have a local authority that jealously guards and zealously promotes the rich tapestry of history and heritage that is evident throughout the county. Although Sligo County Council prides itself on teamwork, I feel it'd be remiss of me not to mention by name Chief Executive Kieran Hayes and Siobhan Ryan, the Heritage Officer of Sligo County Council, for the great work they do in general for heritage and for Sligo, and in particular marvellous work on this particular project. Within the town, while the town of Sligo has a dynamic commercial, cultural and social life, it is not immune to the increasing challenges to town centres nowadays. Towns and cities all over Ireland, and indeed further afield, have faced and are seeking to address the hollowing out of town and city centres. This, as you know, leads to town centres where much of the economic life ceases at 6 o'clock, where fine buildings are unoccupied in the evenings, and life can seem to ebb out of the centre. This, of course, is a challenge faced nationwide. Sligo County Council and Sligo IT have magnificently faced this challenge, taken up the gauntlet and investigated, along with many tremendous partners, how to address the situation. The Heritage Council has played an important role in this project, led ably by Alison Harvey, who coordinated the project. While preserving the heritage of a marvellous town like Sligo is very important, the Heritage Council recognised that there are very wide-ranging other considerations, including, of course, commercial and economic ones. Housing, of course, also can be an important component of a thriving town centre. We all agree on the vital part heritage can play in developing and maintaining a sense of place, in contributing to a deeper sense of well-being and helping communities have a realisation of who they are and where they belong. The work undertaken by the Sligo CTCHC in producing this report contributes to our understanding of the challenges facing the town, and also provides pointers to how the great town of Sligo can thrive and flourish in the future. On behalf of the Heritage Council, I thank everyone associated with the project and congratulate you on your findings. Every best wish to Sligo for the future. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Michael. It's really interesting to talk about well-being and sense of place. I think that's really starting to come to the fore, you know, obviously this year in particular. Okay, so just to introduce Dorothy Clarke, Director of Services, Planning, Community and Economic Development, Arts and Culture, Sligo County Council. Over to you, Dorothy. Thanks.
I better unmute myself. Thank you very much, Ali. Cathaoirleach, Councillor Mulvey, and Chairperson of the Heritage Council, Michael Parsons, and Ali in the Heritage Council, and I suppose everybody that has logged in this afternoon. A very warm welcome to you all, and I suppose from Sligo County Council's perspective, we were delighted to be part of the CTCHC programme, the Collaborative Town Centre Health Check programme, to be part of the steering group in conjunction with the Heritage Council and Sligo BID, the Chamber and IT Sligo, of course, as well. So like, we would be well aware of the significance of town centres. Town centres are the beating heart of any county. They're and particularly in the Sligo context, it's no different. It is the town centre of Sligo is so significant, particularly in the context and the impact that it has on all of County Sligo, and not just Sligo, but also the region. And I suppose most of you would be familiar with Sligo's ambitions and obligations under the National Planning Framework to be that kind of growth centre for the Northwest region. So I suppose the town centre will be very much part and parcel of that ambition in delivering that. So the value of the programme as we see it, and I suppose the collaborative approach that it adopted, it does create and heighten that awareness and I suppose an appreciation as well of the significant role that Sligo, the town centre, plays within the local economy and I suppose within you know, the local society of Sligo in general, and indeed the region. So the strength of any town centre and I suppose its vibrancy, and we're well aware, and Michael touched on that, I suppose the whole historic element, Sligo has a lot of historic and cultural assets and within Sligo town. So they have a huge impact on, I suppose, the viability and the success of Sligo. And I suppose it does impact, as Michael outlined, I suppose, on the quality of life and quality of life issues for those who use our town, for those who live within our town, and I suppose those that are dependent on it for their livelihoods. And of course, for visitors alike, we also like them to experience and have a positive experience of our town centre. So the town centre health check programme has, through the use of, I suppose, the surveys that it has produced, and I think there were about 5 of those, it has produced a lot of valuable information in baseline data that can be used by the council and to drive, I suppose, the development of the town going forward. The outcome and the feedback from those surveys in some instances has been surprising. But I suppose for those of us that work within the local authority, particularly in the planning for and the development of the urban core and urban fabric of the town, this information is invaluable. And we need this information, and we need to be aware of, I suppose, maybe the perception that people have of our town. We need to be aware of what retailers think. We need to be aware of what shoppers think, what their experiences are. And I suppose all of the people who use all of the town services, you know, every day or every week or every month, what they feel and think about the town and what they consider is important to develop in the town. So I suppose these background surveys and studies, you know, those on like the vacancy rates, the data on footfall from the footfall counters, information on movement, accessibility, the shoppers' experience from, or the feedback from their experiences as Sligo as a retail and shopping location. They're all very important nuggets of information which can quickly highlight gaps for us and deficiencies. And I suppose it can focus us in as well as what we need to concentrate on in the future as part of our placemaking strategies. So the completed surveys as we have them, we will be using them in the context now of our the preparation of our planning, the statutory planning process, particularly in the preparation of the local area plan for Sligo and environs, and that's due to commence shortly. So it can be used to highlight areas for the council also to consider, particularly in the context of our public realm infrastructure and where we place public realm investment in the future. So, you know, for those of you who may not be aware, we've already embarked on a transformative regeneration of Sligo's town centre. We've just recently completed a 2.2 million investment on O'Connell Street, which is our main artery, our main shopping artery. And an extension of this is planned for hopefully within the next number of months, extending that onto Knoxall Street. So that's in the pipeline. We will also be on site hopefully in the new year with our new outdoor cultural plaza, our new performance space and plaza for Sligo. So these are going to have a transformative effect on Sligo's town centre, and the hopefully resulting benefits for the retail sector, the hospitality sector, the cultural, the arts sector. Of course, there are other public realm enhancements in the pipeline, and just this week, some of you may have taken part in public consultation sessions for some of our other streets, which are kind of surrounding O'Connell Street and Stephen Street car park. So there's a lot of things in the pipeline that we hopefully will be able to deliver over the next number of years. So I suppose before I conclude, I'd like to kind of say that within the last while, I suppose we have experienced quite a number of challenges. So having survived, I suppose, what would be the severest of recessions within the last 10 years, and where we did experience a bit of a growth and an upturn in vigour and hope. And of course, we are faced with the pandemic and everything that COVID-19 has brought to bear on that. So we've had to grapple with that, and I suppose we've done that collectively and collaboratively within the last number of months, and we will have to continue doing that. So I suppose even within that, and I suppose to support and to play our part in supporting town centre business and support the businesses within that, we've had to put in place a number of interventions in the public realm, like I suppose areas to increase footfall, widening of public footpaths to make streets safer for shoppers, safer outdoor spaces for eating and dining, all in course in accordance with government guidelines. And you know, I think it was Michael that said it. We want Sligo to come alive after 6 p.m. We don't want everything to die once the shops close. We want to have a vibrant urban core after 6 o'clock in the evening. And I suppose, you know, our investment, particularly with the Cultural Plaza and all of this, will support that going forward. So we want Sligo to be that, to continue being that vibrant, beating heart. And we want to enhance the shopping experience, but also we want town centre living within the urban core. We want it to be used for recreational, for social, for cultural purposes. And we will continue to work to make sure that we can deliver on that over the next while. A successful town, a successful beating heart will create that sense of belonging and instill a sense of pride and ownership in the town as well. So in conclusion, I suppose I'd like to thank the Minister, I suppose, and the Department of Heritage who are funding all of this, but I suppose to the Heritage Council and to you, Ali, and also to our own Sligo bid for all the work that they have done, and to the steering group who have been involved in this over the last year or year and a half. So I suppose it has been very welcome for the Council to be part of the steering committee, and we just want to, I suppose we look forward to putting it to good use over the next while. So well done to one and all, I suppose, in getting it to this stage, and I suppose getting it adopted in a different way, Ali, I suppose, or getting it launched in an unusual way. So again, thank you to all for this opportunity for Sligo, and as I said, we look forward to putting it to good use in the future.
Thanks very much, Dorothy. That was fascinating. I always love hearing about towns and what's going on. It just never ever bores me. Okay, so next in our list is Dr. Chris O'Malley, who's the Vice President of IT Sligo. Chris, over to you. Thanks.
Thanks, Ali. I'd just like to begin by, emphasising again that the Collaborative Town Centre Health Check programme, it's been addressing a major gap in the development of Irish towns over the last 5 years. So I'm very glad to see Sligo becoming part of it. I think Dorothy has just been emphasising on a number of occasions how important a tool this is in providing an evidence-based base for town planning and development. And as the title of the programme suggests, it has to be a collaborative undertaking. So we've been very happy to have worked with Sligo Bid and the County Council and other local partners in making it happen, including, of course, the Heritage Council. Now, we should remember that Sligo, in Project Ireland 2040, Sligo has been designated as the regional capital for the Northwest. And therefore, its health and vibrancy is actually critical. It goes beyond the town, it goes beyond the county. It's of critical importance for the whole region. Given the growing gap that there is between the Northwest region and the rest of the country, the Northwest has lost its EU status as a developed region, which is, a sign of how big the gap has become. And this makes the future health of Sligo even more critical. Now, collaboration with other partners in the region is central to the ethos of IT Sligo. And I'm delighted that it won't happen unless our colleagues, of course, get engaged in that collaboration. So I'm delighted that a number of our colleagues have got engaged with this programme and exemplified that ethos. So Bernadette Donoghue, Deirdre Greeny and Michael Rolston from our architecture team, together with 15 of our architecture students, have been responsible for organising a detailed land use survey in the town centre of Sligo, covering over 1,000 separate premises. And IT Sligo provides the only architectural qualifications in the north and west of the country. And that makes a very important contribution to educational access for the region. And this is the first ever survey of its type that Sligo has had. So getting our students engaged in exercises of that type is really important because it helps to connect them to the region. It helps to produce confident, critical thinkers, and it familiarizes them with the issues in the regeneration of place. And you can see the pattern of activities in the town from the map in the report. And from that, for example, we've learned that there's an occupancy rate of 83%, which puts Sligo in a better place than some of the other towns in Ireland, but at the same time, it's still not as high as we would like it to be. But the survey does more than just produce a map. It gives a detailed picture of what's happening in each street and records the pattern of architectural styles and heritage in the town centre. So it's a major resource to inform planning decisions and strategies for regenerating the town. And Carol Moran from our Business and Social Sciences faculty has helped to advise on the design and implementation of a business survey and the analysis as well. And that survey, of course, had some positive things to say about the state of business in Sligo and a relatively optimistic view of the future, at least before the pandemic, just before the pandemic hit. But we've also learned from the survey of some weaknesses. For example, how few businesses have yet become adept at using online trading and selling. And the low use of online trading has left many of our businesses exposed now by the pandemic. So for example, if we see a large proportion of Christmas shopping in the region go online because people are nervous of going to crowded shops, we have to make sure that that online shopping stays local, rather than going to, as the survey indicates, the likes of Amazon and eBay and Boohoo. And we cannot do nothing about that because the online trend is a threat to town centres across the world anyway. And we have to strengthen the connection between online shopping and local businesses. Now, we have already, with our partners in Sligo, begun in offering advice and guidance to businesses on how to get started online, but I think there's a lot more needs to be done on that front. And as we also have learned in even more detail from the survey, there are assets in Sligo which are massively underexploited. The consumer survey shows how few people recognise the significant heritage that's on their doorstep, with very few people seeing that as a reason to come into the town centre. So in addition to the great work that Dorothy has been reporting in terms of improving the public realm in the town centre, I think there is scope to have a strategy for, in particular, enhancing the heritage and making it more accessible. And we're ready to play a part in making such a strategy work. So this report helps to provide the evidence for the importance of issues like this to Sligo. And I'd like to thank Ali Harvey from the Heritage Council and Gail McGibbon from Sligo BID and very many other people who have made this to happen. And I'd also like to thank the Co-ordinator and the Minister for helping to launch this report and underline its importance. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Chris, and thank you again to IT Sligo, who you've been absolutely amazing to work with. Just to highlight, I suppose one of the key findings in the report that we produced was that the pre-COVID, the spend online was actually higher than the spend physically in the town centre, which is, you know, really unusual. So I mean, the whole thing about doing these surveys is looking at patterns and trends. So yeah, moving on, just to say Minister Noonan is here. Hopefully everybody can see him. Just to say, Malcolm, it's just such a great pleasure to have you. I know you're having a crazy day and you're so busy. So really, I know you have a passion for town centres like most of us do. And it's just really nice to have you here today on such a special day when you were doing the briefing on heritage. So Minister, if I could hand over to you, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Ali, and good afternoon, everyone. And apologies for being a bit late. As Ali said, we were having our press conference from my new department here at Housing, Local Government and Heritage, and nobody wanted to ask me about biodiversity, which was I was upset. But that said, I think it was fantastic, and it's great to be here on what, as Ali said, has been a busy few days, but a very positive few days in terms of our heritage and the increase in funding that we've received in the budget 2021. I want to thank Sligo County Council, the Co-ordinator, for your words. Dorothy and Michael, and our fantastic chair of the Heritage Council, Michael Parsons. And to see my colleagues here from Dáil Éireann, from Marion Harkin, I see Mark McSherry there. I think Martin Kenny might be as well. So your local TDs, great to have you here as well. And I suppose, as Ali has outlined, I am very passionate about our towns. As one of the other former borough towns, of the 5 borough towns of Ireland, from Kilkenny, I know what has been an incredibly challenging, not just number of years, but decades for our towns, as we see changes in local government and changes in planning and changes in people's consumer patterns. And this, from our point of view, requires a whole radical rethink in how we look at the future vibrancy of our towns, what these really important spaces are for. I was delighted to hear Chris say speak about the heritage on our doorsteps and making that accessible. That really is key. And that's why I think it's important, as Ali has continued to champion the notion of heritage-led regeneration, because it has to be heritage-led, and the fact that we need data, we constantly need data to support that work. I think anyone that has come across a book by Patrick Shaffrey, a 1975 book called The Irish Town, An Approach to Survival, is a beautiful publication. And it looks again at that point. And that was such a visionary book way back in 1975. And what we've lost since then has been significant. But I still think we still have the intrinsic character of our towns. And I think Sligo town has that in absolute spades. So the health check is a wonderful achievement. I have a copy here, which I will formally launch at the end of my 2-hour speech. And it's been a really great collaboration between Sligo BID, IT, Sligo County Council, Chamber, and Sligo Tidy Towns, and and the Business Improvement District as well. I want to congratulate the Sligo project team who've been working on this since early 2019, which is a big commitment from everybody involved. And I just want to pay a special tribute. I mentioned Michael Parsons, who's been an amazing chair to the Heritage Council and continues to be true and has been through such challenging times as well. To Virginia Teehan, CEO, and to Ali, who's here. I think no more than anyone, you have just championed, as I said, this great cause of our Irish towns. And as I said, we've just come from a housing meeting where there's a lot of talk about delivering housing units, but what our town centres could deliver in terms of livability and inclusive communities is really significant. And I'm delighted that I was able to provide additional funding to the Heritage Council in Budget 2021. And I know you're going to do wonderful, exciting things with that. I want to thank the lecturers and students of the Yates Academy of Art and Design and Architecture and IT Sligo who've engaged in the project as well. IT Sligo President, Dr. Brendan McCormack, and Vice President Chris O'Malley, who spoke so well there, and all your colleagues, Bernadette O'Donoghue, Deirdre Greeny, Carl Moran, and all of the other people involved. I think just from my perspective and reading through the document, the findings from the check report, the health check report, confirm Sligo as an important county town for the Northwest region of Ireland. The top rated aspects of the town centre from both consumers and business owners' perspectives are the quality and choice of cafes, restaurants in the town centre, and the quality of service in the shops. Over 90% of those surveyed rated them as either good or very good. And that's really important. I'm not sure, I'll just draw your attention to an interesting article in today's Irish Times about shoppers embracing the local for a new focus on community. That's really important to see that, and that now consumers are recognising the importance of local. Of course, it has a lovely picture of Kieran Street in Kilkenny, but I think that backs up some of the findings of this report as well. So I suppose as well that the survey highlights an enormous opportunities for enhancing the online presence of town centres, as Chris has mentioned, and businesses. 60% of online shoppers did not shop from Sligo-based online shops, which is a worrying trend. So the survey was carried out pre-COVID, and the position in relation to online shopping may certainly have changed. Nonetheless, while it is difficult for us to consider bustling town centre at this time, we must hold firm to the belief that this pandemic will come to an end, and towns like Sligo, with our support, will thrive and prosper again. The report provides hugely insightful data on the health of the town and a wonderful insight into how it is perceived by the people who know it best, its citizens and the business people. I believe that the town centre is the very heart of Sligo town, and as for its towns right across the country, and this government is committed to the regeneration of town centres through our Town Centres First programme, bringing vacant buildings back into use and making them more attractive for people to live there, and having vibrant spaces for young people and people of all ages. At the launch of National Heritage Week earlier, I stressed that historic towns like Sligo are more than bricks and mortar, that they are the traditional heart and lifeblood of our towns and surrounding rural catchments in which they are located. It is imperative, therefore, that they are maintained and revitalised through heritage-led regeneration schemes, if these places are to be sustainable into the future. It is timely then to mention that I have secured significant additional funding within the heritage sector budget for 2021, with almost 96 million allocated, representing a 51% increase across the sector, recognising the vital role played by our heritage in supporting the physical and mental well-being of our nation, contributing to biodiversity and mitigating the impacts of climate change. Indeed, the funding I've allocated to the Heritage Council for 2021 is the largest allocation of core funding since 2009, and it will allow the Heritage Council to deliver targeted supports to heritage organisations and businesses which have suffered as a result of COVID-19 and the subsequent delayed and shortened tourism season. It will ensure the continuation and growth of the hugely successful Historic Towns initiative, and I'm very pleased to note that the Council will run a Heritage at the Heart community grant scheme, as well as introducing a new inclusive heritage programme to ensure equal value is given to heritage of all elements of our society and to improve access to our heritage for all. We're aware local communities should and must be at the heart of heritage-led regeneration strategies in Ireland, and this will ensure the long-term sustainability and viability. The Sligo Town Report, which is fundamentally a stakeholders plan, is exactly what we need in order to steer limited resources where they are needed. I hope that the group's collective experience can be shared with other towns in Ireland and beyond. I would really love to see this run away from a pilot and into a national scheme. I think I will be absolutely championing that over the next number of months. We need to collaborate and cooperate in order to ensure that our historic towns with their rich and vibrant built culture and natural heritage are successful and sustainable places again. Undertaking and creating a collaborative town centre health check can be a crucial step in any placemaking process. Planning towards a shared vision for our historic towns can be based on these stakeholder-led plans. Essentially, we want to enhance the vitality, vibrancy and quality of life in our towns, and within our communities we must do this together. As I said, many partnerships, networks and type bonds have been created during the health check group's process, and I think process is important sometimes as this final document, because I think the work that Ali does is this collaborative process. And Sligo Town, and it bodes well for the future of this historic county town. I look forward to being kept informed of the future work of the town centre regeneration, and I did have a plan to visit Sligo before the restrictions were brought in, and I would hope that invitation will still be there, and I would love to visit Sligo town in the near future once hopefully the restrictions are lifted over coming weeks. So I suppose finally, just in summary, I just want to congratulate everybody involved in this process. It's been, I'm sure, hugely enriching for you all to be involved in it and to bring together the outputs of it and use them to inform your actions in how Sligo Town is going to reimagine its whole future. And I think you're very fortunate to have a very progressive local authority to lead you off on that, supported with the community groups and the business organisations and your elected members, your councillors, who are vitally important to that process as well. So I suppose it leaves nothing left for me but to hold up the document, I suppose, and formally launch the Sligo Collaborative Town Centre Health Check. And congratulations, everybody.
Yay. Thank you, Minister Noonan.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Yes, a lot of work has gone into that report over the last year or so, year plus. Thank you, Minister. I mean, clearly, you know, everybody's inspired by what we can actually do for our towns going forward. And to get the data is just so important, you know, to have that baseline, that first baseline, which is really, really hard to do, but it's so, so important. And then, you know, if we do these every 2 years or whatever, other countries are doing this as well. So it's really to have that investment in sort of data creation and to have a platform for our digital data, you know, so we actually understand our towns a lot better. So thank you very much, and for your commitment to heritage and to towns. It's just such a good day for Sligo, and the team, you know, we really have bonded. So that has been wonderful as well. Okay, so moving on, thank you again. All right, the next speaker is Gail McGibbon from Sligo Bid. Gail is the CEO. Gail, you just wanted to say a wee bit about what you do with Sligo Bid, so over to you.
Here, look, councillors, Minister, CE of Sligo County Council, TDs, Chair and CEO of the Heritage Council of Ireland and guests. We are indeed operating in a different world with our virtual launch today. And when Ali and I were scheduling this meeting many months ago, I was so looking forward to the day and to meeting everybody in person for the launch of the Sligo Collaborative Town Centre Health Check Report, which is not an easy document to call out in the acronym. However, this is the world we find ourselves in right now. Some background on business improvement districts. There are over 1,500 business improvement districts known as BIDs in the USA. There are 76 in New York alone. 345 bid companies across the UK. The legislation in Northern Ireland was introduced in 2014, and since then 8 bid companies have formed in Northern Ireland. Comparatively, in the Republic of Ireland, they passed the legislation in 2006, and since then only 5 bid companies have formed in the Republic of Ireland, 4 in historic times. With roughly the same population as Scotland, Ireland should have 40 to 50 bid companies by now. However, without a national bid strategy, this is hampering the growth of bid companies. Sligo was fortunate that Sligo County Council availed of SEUPB funding that enabled Sligo to access town centre expertise in building a better partnership with local government. Our partners in the project were Ballymena, Coleraine, Larne and Ayr. Whilst at the beginning of the 18-month-long project, the Sligo participants quickly recognised that we were way behind our Northern Ireland and Scottish project partners in our understanding of the significance of place management and of gathering nodes of data that gave real-time information on town centre performance. However, such was our enthusiasm for wanting a better version of Sligo that we eclipsed many of the partners in the project by exceeding and excelling at meeting KPIs in the 18-month project. Sligo Bid formed in 2016. It represents 758 businesses and together with the other 4 bid companies in Ireland generates 23 million every 5-year term. I just want to say that again. The 5 in existence at the moment generate 23 million every 5-year term. All of these funds are redirected into projects and programs into towns and cities. And more importantly, we work in partnership and with the County Council as our anchor partner. The Collaborative Town Centre Health Check Council of Ireland and project led by Ali is significant to us, particularly in a bid as it promotes, assists and informs our continuing advancement in our understanding of place and what is needed to create and maintain a vibrant, relevant and sustainable urban centre. That for the first time in the Republic of Ireland, the participating towns are following the same methodology, which in turn, again for the first time, is assisting us in benchmarking performance and trends across several measures, is invaluable to the participating partners and envy of those on the waiting list. Last I heard, there were 17 towns on the waiting list and Cork City now wanting to join the programme. Our town centres must be given a chance to live now more than ever. The report before you is a concise snapshot in time of consumer and business sentiment that includes perceptions, impressions, desires, recommendations, properties, footfall performance, and so much more. The work was accomplished through collaboration and cooperation. 2 really easy words to say. However, there are 2 why the level of hard work, enthusiasm, commitment and dedication gifted to this publication by very busy people in the Sligo Project Partnership. We need to pay attention to the results. We have, as the report details, approximately 200 vacant properties in the heart of our town, giving us an 18.4% commercial vacancy rate, which is similar to other towns' results of the European average, who really start to worry when they go over 5%. So technically, we should be really, really worried. Sligo is fortunate that we sit in both the Collaborative Town Centre Health Checks Programme's Heritage Council of Ireland Border Town Atlantic Economic Corridor Network. I represent 23 Irish destinations, towns and cities on the Advisory Council and the Board of the Association of Town, which is the largest town and city place management network covering the UK and Ireland. I knew we had an extremely informed and capable project lead in Ali, as she's been a member of the ATCM since the late 90s. We need now more than ever to focus on our historic town centres, and we were heartened at the inclusion in the programme for government of a town centre first policy and the formation of a nighttime task force. As detailed in the report, consumers, both resident and visitor, domestic and international, have higher expectations of what our towns and cities provide an experience. In a survey completed by Dublin Bid in 2019, for the first time, more people were going into the city centre to eat and drink than shop. We need to be more. We need to move from a monofunctional offering to a multifunctional offering. Eating, shopping, entertaining and living all now need to adapt to COVID conditions. We need to maintain a balanced mix of our multiple and Indigenous businesses. We need to offer both a brick and click option to the user ASAP. In 2019, 2.7 billion was spent online by Irish consumers, with 70% of that spent outside the EU. We are driven by the two anchor metrics of footfall and dwell time, both heavily influenced by the town or city centre offering. If we don't pay attention to the results detailed in this report, or take too long to look strategically and creatively at short, medium and long-term solutions, the SMEs that account for 99.8% of total active enterprises in Ireland, that make up the majority of the business size in 93.6% of SMEs are Irish owned, and these SMEs account for 65% of the total employees in Ireland, all will be severely impacted. On behalf of Sligo Bid, I would like to extend appreciation to the project partners. New relationships formed and developed, and we gained a greater understanding of what exactly was involved in each other's areas. It was an awakening for me when at a CTCH workshop in Dundalk last year, two of IT Sligo's amazing lecturers, Bernadette and Deirdre, gave a presentation on what exactly was involved in completing the land use survey using the CTCHC methodology that all towns in the programme use. It was layers upon layers of work, and an eye-opener to me as a layperson in understanding the commitment and the allocation of resources that were gifted to the project. Our thanks and appreciation to Virginia, CEO of the Heritage Council of Ireland, continuing to support our historic town, and Ali for keeping us on track and giving us such a valuable tool that shows us our current position that, if utilised, will help us navigate our way forward. Finally, Minister Noonan, if we can assist in any way in endorsing, testing or implementing a town centre first policy, consider us ready and able. And thank you, Minister, for taking time to launch our Sligo CTCHC report here today. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Gail. That was really interesting about the bids and you know, what other countries have compared to what Ireland has. I mean, obviously we need, you know, sort of structures, parallel structures that can help bring all those stakeholders together. And I just put up some stats there, Gail, just to reiterate what you were saying about what the sort of target rate should be. One KPI is commercial vacancy rate. So yeah, that's just really, really interesting. Okay, folks, thank you so much, Gail. Really good. Next we have Virginia Teehan, who is the Chief Executive of the Heritage Council. Virginia, you're going to wrap us up and close us down or whatever. So over to you. Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you, Alison, and good afternoon, Minister, Co-ordinator, elected representatives and all partners involved in this wonderful collaboration. Alison has done what she always done, is wave her magic around and produce a very valuable report based upon the work of so many different partners and players. And that is a value that the Heritage Council espouses all the time, is that sense of being involved with communities, with individuals, and with groups who have a common goal with us, and that's to support, protect, preserve, and improve access to our heritage. And central to that, of course, is the supporting of our towns and villages and cities across Ireland. The Minister will know that we're both Kilkenny natives. And I remember as a child, a very inspirational county manager in Kilkenny, Paddy Donnelly, who had a vision for Kilkenny City that was to protect the unique character of the city. And he understood that its uniqueness was key to its economic development and its growth. And I think the business that Kilkenny experiences, particularly its cultural tourism offering and its offering around conferences, has the testimony to Paddy Donnelly's vision, and indeed the vision of others, those who were involved in the foundation of the Kilkenny Design Workshop in the early 1960s on board Troctola, those who continued to be active in supporting the development of a place and promoting its unique qualities. Because the practice of craftsmanship in Kilkenny goes back to medieval times, to the stone carvers whose works are seen on the streets of the city and in the monastic foundations around the county. And Sligo is no different. I know Sligo fairly well. In fact, my son lives in Sligo. He works in the hospital. And it's a place that has been very dear to my heart in lots of ways, because for one, I spent a brief amount of time working in Lissadell House when the Gore Booth family still lived there. They engaged me to review their archives. And, you know, it is a place that has unique qualities, unique characters, a unique character which must be protected and preserved and enhanced. And Sligo's reputation is global because of its culture and its heritage. And I very much hope that the next step will be to put in place the recommendation that Chris outlined in his few words there earlier around realising the heritage potential of Sligo and connecting that to its sense of place. It would be awful to see Irish towns becoming like towns across other European cities, where there's that sameness in the streets, where there's a diminution of the vernacular architecture, the introduction of chain stores who last for about 4 years and then exit. Look at Debenhams in Patrick Street in Cork, where there's a big gaping hole in the city's main street, and so many other town centres in Ireland. It would be great to see the leaders in business to have the courage to protect their heritage, like those visionaries, those rare visionaries who were part of Irish life in times gone by. So I'd like to finish by thanking all of you for your participation today, and indeed your participation in the programme. And a special call out to our Minister Malcolm Noonan for his courage in supporting heritage and demonstrating that courage and commitment by securing an additional 50% funding for us and for the sector today and over the past weeks. Thanks, congratulations to the whole team, and special thanks and congratulations to Minister Noonan.
Thank you. Thank you very much, folks, for your time. As I say, it's just been a wonderful experience, and hopefully we can build on this and you know, look at our towns and try and help them and support them going forward. If I could just say, if you would like a hard copy of the report, we'll be doing another print run this week, so they will be available. So just drop me an email, and also the team in Sligo are doing their best to get the reports out around the place, so it's not easy with social distancing and stuff. Also, could I just ask the team to stay on so that we can get a screen grab, so everybody who's involved, and thank you to the speakers as well. If you could just stay on the call, if that's all right, folks, and we're just going to obviously try and get a team photo in a different way here. So let me see what we can do. I think Anne Barco's helping us. Let me see if Anne's here. Hi, Anne.
Yeah, hi Al, I'm here. So yeah.
Great stuff.
Okay.
Let's see what's possible.
I'm just going to get out myself.
Has everybody got a copy?
Okay. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Anne.
Okay. Everybody smile.
Sligo.
Lovely. Okay, great.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Virginia. That was wonderful as always. And thank you to all our speakers and especially to Minister Noonan for joining us in what has been a very, very busy day for him. So thank you, folks. We'll be in touch. There'll be another session just to talk about the report and where we're going to go after this. And obviously the partners are just really, really keen to keep going. So thank you to everybody.